Georgia. In this special edition of Focus on Liberia, I have my co-host, Mr. Anthony Sia, and we have our guest, Mr. Isaac Vah Tukpah. Mr. Isaac Vah Tukpah, he contacted us for this special broadcast. And before we join Mr. Isaac Vah Tukpah, I'm going to kick it back to my man, Anthony Sia, who's going to formally introduce the show and our guest as well, Mr. Sia.
Thank you, Mr. Jah. Folks in cyberspace, folks who are listening to us via teleconference phone lines. This is Focus on Liberia in a virtual exploratory town hall meeting with Mr. Axel Vah Tukpah Jr. Again, the network here is Focus on Liberia. Mr. Axel Vah Tukpah will make a statement introduction, the issues he cares about, for which he's exploring the possibility of becoming a candidate for the Montserrado County Senate seat, and then we will have the opportunity to ask him questions. Folks, welcome. This is Focus on Liberia, and we are happy to have Mr. Tukpah with us. Isaac, welcome to Focus on Liberia, and then you can continue on making your statement.
Okay, thank you. Folks, I'm excited to be here again. Like I said, my name is Isaac Vah Tukpah, and most people should know that by now. I'm a family man. I have a wife, Natalie, 4 kids, Yanita, Iva, Nyla, and Peyton. I've been a member of the political party, the CDC, since 2009. I have served in the ranks and rose up to chairman. I served 2 terms as chairman of the party. Professionally, I'm a project program manager. I've worked in multiple areas, healthcare consulting, underwriting, technology, project management, data analysis. So I have a wealth of experience, if I can say so myself. Currently, I'm the chairman of the Sustainable Development International Corporation. We do, green infrastructures. We focus on holistic and sustainable development, primarily through the use of, renewable energy, water management, and agriculture. We believe that through these processes, we can obtain sustainable economic development, social equity, and at the same time be able to protect our environment. So we believe that directly relates to how Liberia can develop. And we discussed that a little bit when we discussed agriculture and WASH. Additionally, on the humanitarian side, I was the founder and chairman of the Liberian Emergency and Disaster Relief Fund. We focus on trying to help Liberians, and we originated back in 2007 when we had some extreme flooding in Liberia. We had to assist the people there, and we worked with the Red Cross in those instances. We worked there when the people were affected by the worms as well. We have been able to help 1 or 2 kids who, got affected either by Lysol or got burned or situations like that. We are a 501c3 nonprofit tax-exempt organization here in the United States. And similarly, we have registered in Liberia to be able to continue our work as well. I've also been a part of Child Steps International. Child Steps International is a nonprofit, Liberian-owned. It's an international and Liberian NGO owned by, founded by Ms. Tene Johnson Kima. We focus there in terms of creating programs to prepare Africa's young children, specifically those in Liberia. We had the opportunity to work with Usiwa, and we created a civics book called Law Plus You, The Rights and Responsibilities of the Liberian Citizen. So that book has officially been approved as a civics text for the Liberian schools, and we are looking forward to it probably being implemented in this next school year as soon as school can open. So I have worked in different areas, and now my focus has been primarily in the agriculture sector and project management. In terms of where I originated from, I was born in River Cess Territory, currently now in River Cess County, but I was raised in Monrovia, Liberia. I can be considered a Rocktown boy, and I literally live close to the Rocktown area up Snapper Hill. I went to school at Cathedral School in my early years. My father had a job with in Lamco, Amonico, so he went over there. We're in Area C school for like a year. Then we came back to Monrovia at Cathedral. And then for another year, and then I went to Carroll High school, where my father thought when you go on the mission, you should be able to become a good person or a good boy. Maybe he was right, but ultimately, not everything was right over there. From Carroll High, I came to Monrovia and went to CWA for high school. Graduated from CWA in 1978 at the age of 16. Um, Stayed out a year, which was one of the most impactful years in my life. I worked at Chase Manhattan Bank for that year and got significant exposure to what real life is. And what's funny is that first job at Chase Manhattan Bank, I was 17. My salary at a private institution was more than my mom or my dad, you know. So that was very interesting. But as a young man, I was still dependent on my parents. I did not pay rent, and I did not, really share my money with them. So,
Wow.
yes. So I was living in the house, but basically my friends and I were the ones that were enjoying. But it was a wonderful experience for that year. I was very mature in dealing with adults in a professional situation, being mentored by several different persons, which still have an effect on how I go about doing things. So I was very lucky to be able to stay focused and go to Cottington the next year. I went to Cottington University. I graduated in 1983, magna cum laude. Um, Came to the U.S. back in 1986 at Rutgers University. I completed all the academic requirements for my degree in monetary and industrial economics. Unfortunately for me, I did not complete my thesis, primarily due to the situation with the war and the funding, kind of running out. But because we had nowhere to go, so we had to make a year in the U.S. So I stayed in the U.S., managed to work my way and started working with, Prudential Insurance Company. Eventually, I came out to work with Sierra Military Health Services. This was a military contract that the company I worked for had gotten. And during that term, that's when I went to the University of Maryland and got my MBA. And, it was also like a magna cum level, but you don't necessarily say that in graduate school. I also hold a project management certification from the Project Management Institute. So I'm a certified PMP, project management professional. Most people who know me know I'm very passionate about Liberia and the issues affecting Liberia. Being a part of the CDC, I subscribe to the fundamental philosophy of the CDC, which is to provide an opportunity for every Liberian to have an affordable life. Unfortunately, it seems like that has not happened, and I don't even think we're on track to be able to achieve that goal that we so, collectively held sacrosanct and we really believed in. My goals, personally, from a personal level, is just to increase the level of awareness of issues that affect Liberia and be able to collect and get together a critical mass of people, patriots, people who are committed, who have the ability to create a higher level of respect for themselves, to be able to assist their countrymen, that we can have some level of social, economic, and political equity in our, politics in Liberia. I'm also very strong on transparency and accountability in government. And I believe that working together, we can find solutions to all these vexing problems that we have. And especially, I truly believe we need a strong diaspora presence and integration with our people in Liberia and be able to tap. There's so much talent on the ground. There's so much ability on the ground, but some of it is not coming to the front because sometimes of resources, especially in the private sector. So to the extent that we can be able to bring Liberians together, diaspora and people on the ground, on an economic platform where we can vet some of the businesses and they can be able to work together, where we can, start to have some mentoring, some partnerships that not necessarily factor into, you're not scared that the person will be begging you for money every day. It will be more of a professional relationship than a dependency relationship. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking of with regards to diaspora participation. So, most people know me in terms of my advocacy. I've been pushing for fairness, for justice, for equality, war crimes code, against corruption, everything. Back in my days as a student at Cottington, I was in my junior year, I was the president for the sports association. In my senior year, I was the student representative, and like, president of the school, but defined as student representative. So consistently over time, I have headed different organizations. I see myself as a leader, and a lot of people put me into that same situation of leadership. So I've been fortunate to participate in community organizations, like EULA, representing the Liberian Community Association. Yeah, I was a representative of EULA. At the time when Charles Taylor was in power and we're advocating for, his removal. Yeah, I was a member of the Liberians United for Peace and Development. We actively pushed, and also the Coalition of Concerned Liberians. We consistently demonstrated at the White House, at the Capitol, with regards to the whole TPS thing. We were some of the pioneers in terms of pushing it. I want to just give a shout out to John Law at this point. He was one of those who were key in making sure that we all push for those things, and also push to demand that Charles Taylor leave. We're actually at a demonstration at the White House when George Bush made that announcement. So we are proud that we're able to influence that particular decision with our insistency. We even nearly got arrested one time demonstrating at the Guinean embassy because they said we're trespassing. But, because of Liberia, we do whatever we can to help our country. So just to understand, where we come from in that respect. We have a passion for the youth. We have a passion for the kids. We want them to develop. We want the education system to be improved, that, these kids can be competitive with other kids, globally. I mean, most people who grew up my time could go anywhere and be academically competitive. It was just legitimate, the kind of education we got back then. Whether I went to Cathedral, I went to, AOC school, I went to Carroll High, and I went to CWA. And I can stand with anybody academically. They see with my class, we have some very brilliant people in our realm. And we're not any exception to the kids that are in Liberia today. I believe they can also do the same thing. They just need an opportunity. And that opportunity comes with responsible governance, with transparency, with accountability, with us all trying to do the right thing to make things happen in the best interest of the country. So that's the perspective I come from in this, introduction of myself.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ava. And you've heard from the man, Isaac Vah Tukpah, who we're exploring. And so, Isaac, we've heard a good bit of you. I don't know if you can zero in more on your participation or your association with the CDC, because I understand you were former chairman.
Yes, I did touch on that. I joined the CDC in 2009, based on like strong, because I was an independent before, just like an individual by myself. I wrote a lot of articles at the time. I stood on issues. I was not part of any political party, but when my friends came to me and persistently asked that I join the CDC, at that time the CDC was at a very, very low level. It was like totally disorganized. There was nothing going on. And so I just felt maybe based on my friends and the information they gave me, that we can get together, work together, and build an institution that we can be all proud of, supporting the people in Liberia and being able to, eventually gain state power. And it did happen that way. But, in the end game is not what we expected. So again, that's why we are here today.
Right. And we're going to get deep into that. Thank you so much, Mr. Vah Tukpah. So right now you are here to on an exploratory mission for the Senate seat in Montserrado County. Let's talk a little bit about that exploration. Why do you want to do this, and what you hope to accomplish doing that?
Okay, so like I said earlier, I believe that it's only through a real robust integration of the diaspora folks and the folks in Liberia that Liberia can move forward. We have a lot of talent on both sides, but we have on both sides the different needs. The people in Liberia, they need some support whether it's financial, whether it's professional or enhancing some competencies and all of that. At the same time, the people here need to understand that we have to work together. There's this kind of love-hate relationship, it seems, that's going on with some people believing that, oh, the people in America think they're better than us. And some people in America actually thinking sometimes that they're better or know more than the people in Liberia. So how you present yourself sometimes is, how people accept you or reject you. And in some circles, sometimes it's not warranted. Sometimes people, overplay your perspective, your confidence, and everything like that. But we need to get together and work together as a people. So that's where, I really come in trying to see how we can bridge that gap. How can me and the people in the different communities be able to connect, that I can be a bridge to them in terms of resources that exist here in the United States and in other places, for us to be able to build our country effectively and get partnership. And not to forget, there's a whole bunch of other people who want to be part of the Liberian scenario. And these are our African-American friends. They are very keen on understanding what's going on in Liberia and being a part of that. And I feel also I can help bridge that gap along with so many other people in the diaspora who have strong African-American connections, for us to be able to build a critical mass of people that can help Liberia develop.
All right. And you talk about trying to bridge the gap um, between those in Liberia and those in the US. And you are bringing this to our attention at a time you are exploring. Couldn't you have done it with sustainable development? There's a sustainable development organization you are part of, you're playing a leadership role, and now you're trying to do it through the political medium. So my question is, why wouldn't the organization medium work, and now you're trying to use the political medium? Why?
Okay, so at the end of the day, politics run everything.
Okay.
We just seen recently in terms of the whole coronavirus situation.
Yeah.
The government enforced a state of emergency. The government proposed a budget to the Senate. I don't know what the basis of that budget is. I don't know what the breakdown of 25 million for this, 7 million for that, and 3. I don't know what that is. So at the end of the day, the political decisions drive our lives. That's why when I hear some people say, I'm not political. Yeah, you may not be a political animal. You may not want to be a part of the political function, but as a responsible citizen, you are part of the body politics and you have to play a role. You really do have to play a role and be a part of it. So, that's how I see it. And that's why, even though I am doing things from the sustainable development perspective, because I've worked with some other Cuttington University students. We have purchased 10 acres to do some agriculture to be able to impact our community. And we feel we can build that kind of community development model where there's partnership from people in the diaspora with some resources to invest in the community, create jobs in those communities. So that's a model that once we can really get it going, this rainy season has interrupted some of the things we're doing, but we will probably have about 10 acres planted. We probably got like 7 planted right now, and hopefully the plants will start to be firm enough to be able to sustain the rain. So we are just, going in all different angles. On the nonprofit side, we have the Liberian Emergency Disaster Relief Fund. We've been trying to secure funding. The Phoebe Hospital made a call for some medical supplies that they were out of. And we, took the opportunity to try to reach out to different sources. There's a group called Women Innovative, Group Wings. They were able to help work with us, and we're able to get like 16 pallets. Now we're trying to raise funds to ship those, supplies to Liberia. And those supplies could be used both for Phoebe and even some for the national government or for JFK. Similarly, with this whole coronavirus situation, we understand that people are really in need. And then with the lockdown, people have limited access to resources. People are not hustling. We know 75% of our people live on less than $1.25 a day. So if people don't hustle on a day, they probably never gonna get what they need. They will not be able to eat and stuff like that. So they got to get out there. In the same token, there are just some totally disenfranchised people that we have. We have the blind, we have the handicapped, we have some of the elderly folks. who are in these communities and sometimes in homes that are not getting enough, sustenance to help them. So that's why we're trying to look at this opportunity, explore it to see whether there's a critical mass of people that can support us, whether we can build something in this time frame that we can leverage and say, yes, we are confident enough to get into this process. We'll get the support we need to be competitive, and we'll compete as we move forward.
So talk.
Okay, Mr. Ava, again, we are here with Mr. Vah Tukpah, who's exploring to run for the Senate seat currently being held by Mr. Darius DeLong. So, Mr. Vah Tukpah, people are just joining. Some people are just joining the town hall. Once again, make that big announcement that people were anticipating. You are running.
No, like I said, we are still exploring. Somebody is asking me, what are you exploring? But I believe the trend we are going and the reception we have received so far drives that decision. And, I'm leaning towards running, but that has to be with the team. I cannot make that decision because these are people who saw in me the opportunity to represent them, to represent Montserrado County, and to be a significant player in Liberian politics from the Senate. So I cannot hastily make any decision. I know some people want me to just say it. So I have to talk with the team that we are with. I have to talk to some other people who are advisors, and then be able to make that final decision.
Good. Let's see where you are in the process, because you talk about a team. We know you as a former chairman of CDC USA and member of CDC. Is it something, are you thinking on running this as a member of your political party, or is it something that is your team outside the CDC? We have heard of disenfranchised seditions. Are you one of them? Where are you in this process?
Well, there's a group called the Disenchanted Seditions. There are other people called disgruntled seditions. Like I said, we came with a primary purpose to make a difference in the lives of our people. And some people have not felt that impact. And some partisans whose intent, who really struggle, who really supported this party, they feel neglected by the party. So they are disenchanted.
Are you one of them?
I'm not. I'm disappointed in terms of how we have run our government, the governance process, how we have not met up to the mandate that has been entrusted with us. So I'm disappointed with that. But like in terms of no, I'm fine. I don't need to be appointed. But if they can expand the economic space, I'm sure as a competitor, I'll be thriving as a business person. So it's just not about being appointed. It's all about what have we as an organization been able to do.
I don't want to take you off your exploration, but I'm interested in this disappointment with the CDC. Right. Because those of us who here in the US, follow you as a very
Quick question for you. Are you disappointed with the government today?
Let me end my thought. I will come to that.
Okay.
I mean, the Liberian government has not impressed me over the years.
No.
Yeah. So yeah.
I understand over the years we have had disappointing governments, but
right.
We are talking about this specific CDC-led.
So this government for me is nothing new. There's a pattern, because I believe there are some fundamental issues that have not been addressed that we've been covering up. So, but I'll come to that. Okay. I want to talk about your disappointment with the CDC and where are you in that process. If you are still, at what point did you become this disappointed? Because I know this has been a journey for you.
I mean, I have to be honest with that. Basically, from day one, probably even before the inauguration, the issue started developing. But being a patient person, I had to keep the persistence in trying to get us to go in the right direction. But at this point, I feel it's useless to just stay and submerge my own desire to see a better Liberia behind, simply not saying anything.
Was there a last straw that broke the camel's back?
No, not necessarily a last straw. It's more about timing. You can't keep doing stuff, and especially in these critical times where with this whole coronavirus, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So how do we move forward? I think we need real leaders in Liberia to step up at this critical time and be a part, because this is a reset button. This is an opportunity to restart. Regardless of how devastating this impact may be on us, we have to restart our country. So do we restart with the same old thing we're doing, or do we try to restart with hope and vision for our people and a plan as we move forward?
Mr. Tukpah, are you saying that the CDC is a failed project?
Well, I won't say the CDC is a failed, because the CDC is a failed project, because the CDC still has the potential to
Okay.
be able to change and stuff. And that's what some of us are trying to do. And we don't have to do it under the CDC blanket per se. Okay. So we are trying to see how we can bring some of these issues to the top and be able to move. Maybe the party will respond to it, maybe the party won't. That's up to the party. But we also, as Liberians, which comes first, being Liberian, we have to do everything we can to change the current dynamics and be able to impact our people living.
All right. There's a Facebook question here from Dr. UJ Dekie. After the exploration, will Mr. Tukpah contest as an independent or on a party ticket?
Well, that's what the exploration is about.
Okay.
And that decision will come very soon.
Okay.
So we have to look at it, weigh the chances. We know the CDC, obviously, and they've admitted, the CDC, we have admitted it ourselves, we have issues. Partisans are disgruntled, other people are unhappy with how government running. So it's not like the CDC is a popular brand at this time, and we have focused unnecessarily on some people and made them popular, which is not necessary for us to do. So that decision has to be weighed, very seriously as to where we want to go as a group of people who are considering making a difference.
Are you breaking away from the CDC?
Well, that has not been decided yet. Like I said, just taking this step, obviously there will be some disappointment from some people in the CDC. Some will be unhappy, but I also have to do what's best for me as an individual, what I think is best for our country, and also for those many people who have depended on us and still have hope for a better future. How can we give them that? So, for example, the people who are supporting me right now, they are not hiding their desire to support me. They want me to run. So those people have basically become a responsibility of mine, because we know the mindset of people in Liberia and how they operate with politics. They totally marginalize you if you're not, kowtowing, or you're not paying homage or patronage to them. So these people have to be a part of how I think about the future, win or lose.
All right.
I run. These people have to be a part of my mindset in terms of anything I do. So this is not something to joke with. These are people who have families. These are people whose lives are very, important to themselves. So what we do today and the decision we make down the road, or whichever way we go, run or no run, lose or not lose, or lose or win, I should say, these are people whose lives we need to push to make a difference with. Yes, some people say, why not just focus on the private sector? But I have consistently said it. We have been in so many different rooms, chat rooms, discussing these, from CDC chat rooms to a mix of, seditions and, opposition and no position. And it's very clear, our government has not facilitated a conducive private sector environment, especially for Liberians. So those are some of the things that we have to fight for and make possible. They have to realize that there are people here who need things. Liberians want to be into business. Liberians have that opportunity, and we cannot glorify the government jobs that most of the kids today, that's all they want to aspire to. We need to diversify the focus, get some people into science, technology, engineering, math, and other things, not just political science, public administration, of some of those disciplines that just lead to public office.
All right, we have a question here from Facebook from Mr. Dave Jha. What responsibility do you take for the current trend of leadership in Liberia?
I don't take a responsibility for the trend of leadership, but I take responsibility for putting this leadership there. I was a very vital cog in the CDC machinery to get to state power. I believe, especially in terms of the participation from the folks in the US, that I brought a lot of credibility to the table. I assisted the party in getting to where we got, building an organization, building a strong relationship with the people on the ground who sometimes we consider foot soldiers, but who are very essential into every movement of the party and every success we have had. And that's why some of those people are very disappointed. They sacrificed 12 years of their lives, giving it all to the CDC, and to come to power and not be able to find some avenue, whether it's education, whether it's being able to expand the economic sector in a way that some of these people can get small business loan, or even work with other people to mentor them to move up or to get government jobs. It's very clear government has limited ability to employ people, but government has the ability to facilitate the expansion of the private sector for people to be able to make a difference.
Mr. Tukpah, those who know you say, well, Isaac should have known better in the first place. You were highly criticized when you were at the top of the CDC.
Right.
What do you say to those people that you knew all along that maybe the CDC leadership, the current leadership, was not to the task? What did you see in Mr. Weah then?
I don't know if that's correct. I did not see this leadership leading, a CDC government, not at all. No, this was not my view. I expected, and President Weah said it several times, you will find the most competent Liberians. He admitted that he had his own limitations, and we know he had limitations. But at the end of the day, I believe in democracy.
But Mr. Tukpah, you were pushing this man who you were admitting now has limitations, pushing him on the Liberian people.
No, I can't say I was pushing him on the Liberian people. I was under the impression, and based on my own analysis, that a significant number of the Liberian people wanted President Weah to be president. So that's the basis I would go. I didn't force President Weah on anybody. The people who went to the polls to vote, or the people in the round when they made the decisions to move the party towards the CDC or the coalition to vote, it was not a matter of pushing, President Weah on people. No.
Okay. At the time, by default, because the people like him, so you got on the bandwagon.
I don't know. I don't call it a bandwagon per se, because I believe in the philosophy of the CDC. If it was a bandwagon thing, or it was just a fan thing, sure, I'll be trying to pay homage and patronage to President Weah. But that's not my portion. I believe we have to stand for the principles we believe in, and I believe in the philosophy of the CDC. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way, so we are where we are. So I don't want to dwell on that point of forcing people on the Liberian people or stuff like that, because that's not the angle. The angle here is, what can we do now to forge a different path? How can we build a group of people that can really believe in this Liberia and diaspora integration and build a movement towards that? How can we build cells in the different districts, communities, zones in Montserrado County that can support an Vah Tukpah candidacy that will focus on agriculture, healthcare, water and sanitation, tourism and education, as the primary things. And those things underlying that is a cross-cutting issue of women, technology, youth. How can we do all of that? That's what my focus is, and maybe we can, segue into having some discussion about those things.
Right. So let's go into your focus. October, the election will be the seat of the current Senator Darius Dillon will be up for grab, and then 2023, I think.
Again, you personalize it when you say the seat of Darius Dillon. No, it's not.
Okay. I mean, for lack of better semantics, but you know what I mean.
Okay, I understand.
All right. And then there comes Sir Joseph. Which of these seats are you going for? Just to make it clear.
No, but we have to understand the political structure. When the 2005 elections happened, one set of senators, 15 of them, were for 6 years, and the other were for 9 years. They gave the senator, but it's not really a senior or junior situation. And, as far as I know, there's no compensation difference. There's no entitlement difference in terms of the senators. So after 9 years, the seat was up. That was 2014. President Weah became the senator, he lost that seat. I mean, sorry, he left that seat when he became president. And Sir Joseph ran in a by-election to take that seat. The other seat is what, Dillon won in a recent by-election as well.
Right.
So obviously, we feel that that seat is an opportunity for anybody who has the ability to mobilize the people. Because like I said before, there's a void in the entire situation in terms of leadership, in terms of production, in terms of making a difference. And the role of the senator has not been, how should I say, not being really emphasized, not really being exercised. That position is a very powerful position if utilized in the best interest of the people. There are so many responsibilities that the senator can come with. The senator can be able to make an impact on people's lives, from oversight, from passing laws, from monitoring the different treaties we have signed with different organizations. How productive are they? Whether they are impacting people's lives. So um, as we move on with this process, those are the things we'll be bringing to light. How much can we be able to influence our people's lives, given the position that we are in and the requirements of a senator in terms of the position, in terms of making the laws, in terms of raising in terms of making sure, like for example, this particular COVID-19 budget that we have we dissected the budget? Are we prioritizing where spending would be? Just to say a 25 million expenditure is approved does not tell me what that breakdown of that 25 million is. We already have a negative mindset about 25 million because we know what happened with the last map of 25 million. So where are we today with another 25 million that we cannot really understand how it will be expended?
I know. I don't know how to come up with a 25 figure, but go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Exactly.
Uh,
So
Thank you again, folks in cyberspace. You're watching Focus on Liberia. We are having Mr. Asset Vah Tukpah, who is on an exploratory mission for a possible run in Montserrado County. So, Mr. Tukpah, let's look at it this way. I believe that in any game, be it political or sports, there are two possibility, the good and the bad.
right.
So, not wishing you any bad luck, but now you explore and you make a decision, let's say, to go independent. And that is the choice that becomes possible for you. And then at the end of it all, you're not smiling. Have you done any good or bad? Have you harmed your party or have you helped your party? Have you helped the Liberian people you dearly want to help or have you hurt them?
I don't understand the question. What are you saying? Is it one question or 10 questions?
Just take one.
Just take the one you understand. I'm sure I loaded it.
Okay.
I can
So
I can rephrase that if you don't mind.
yes, rephrase it.
So
I was
I'm saying, let's say at the end of your exploratory mission, the decision that is best for you, given the political dynamic, is you going independent.
right.
And then at the end of the all, the victory is not on your side. God forbid. All
Mhm.
right. By that, can you say you help the situation? Situation number one, your party. Did he help your party or did he hurt your party?
At this point, this situation is not about parties. So including the party in whatever factors is just irrelevant to me. It's not about the party.
Okay.
Right now, I have taken a decision to explore this opportunity.
Mhm.
If I go independent,
Mhm.
there is nothing about the party. If I choose to submit to the party process,
Mhm.
that's a different thing. But like I said before, most of the people who support me are leaning towards the independent route. So I don't know where we eventually end at, but if we go independent, it will be fine for us to go independent. And that's a likely scenario. That's why we are exploring.
So share with us quickly, what information do you have to your disposal as you explore about your party primaries, if there will be one?
I have not received any details on the party primary. I've requested it, but I have not received it.
And you
So
think you should have it now, right?
obviously I do. I mean, I was promised it like a week or so ago. So
Any suspicion why they are holding that information from you?
I don't know if they're holding it from me. I don't want to context it like that.
Okay.
Maybe it's not prepared yet, or maybe whoever was sending it to me forgot. But I'm just saying I'm not aware what the process is fully. You know, so we do have some wonderful questions from people here on Facebook.
Okay.
Because I'm going live as well.
Okay.
So let me see one or two of the questions.
Okay. Read it so that our audience too will hear it.
All right, somebody say, why disclose? Do you think you can rally enough support within 6 months or less to election? I definitely believe so. If we commit ourselves, we have the message for the people out there with regards to the issues they are facing, and we provide reasonable explanation of how, especially just making promises is not enough, but telling people how we do certain things to make a difference in their lives would be, you know, what we believe can be the tipping point. And, you know, yes, a lot of people may think that, you know, they don't have the crowd or whatever, but the reality is there are 770,000 voters in Montserrado County. And I don't know that even the CTC has reached to these people. So there are a lot of people out there, and I think somebody made a comment earlier, that we can reach to these people and be able to make an impact on them. So let me also ask Mr. Jones Hinson, Mr. Williams. Is there anybody on the phone who may want to ask a question? Yes. Yes, sir. Right. I mean, we're all questioning. I think the role of a senator is, you know,
Mr. Tukpah, can you rephrase the question so we can hear him?
Okay, his question is, he knows I have patience. I mean, I have passion for agriculture, for workforce development, for, you know, job creation and all of that. Will I focus on that at a national level as well? Yes, definitely I will. While, you know, my priority will also be to my constituents in Montserrado County, but as a senator, I represent, you know, the entire country as well. Can you mute that person? So without doubt, my agenda extends to them, but specifically to Montserrado, there exists huge opportunity for urban agriculture, and some of it right in the state of Monrovia itself, and, you know, peri-urban agriculture on the outskirts of Monrovia. So we'll be able to put our people to work. We'll be able to work on finding markets outside of Liberia. And I think the Ministry of Agriculture is making the effort now to change the dynamic and the paradigm of how they operate and be able to support small farmers, which is very critical to our entire agriculture sector. And we have a significant number of women who are participants in, you know, the agriculture sector in Liberia. And they would make a huge difference by being able to, you know, participate in this process with the level of support that could come from a Ministry of Agriculture or from a concentrated focus on trying to make a difference for, you know, these people. So yes, you know, Montserrado and the entire country can be impacted by the advocacy with, you know, my peers, because that somebody had asked that question and that relates directly to it. How can we build consensus around these things? So I have to be able to individually and collectively engage my peers and convince them that these ideas for development can work. You know, they need to support it. They need to work with me, and it would take some effort. You know, nothing is easy. That's why I'm telling some people like, oh, don't even get in the race now. But nothing in life is easy. You win some and you lose some, and you got to be gracious in losing as the same way as you're gracious when you win. So you have to put in the effort. If people don't stand up now, when do they ever stand up? So we are taking this opportunity now to stand up to try to make a difference for our people.
Okay. Mr. Tukpah, let me come in with my question too.
Sure.
I think in the previous general election, you ran for a seat in Riverside County.
Yes.
And you were not successful.
No,
now you are running for Montserrado.
Right.
Okay. What is it? What were some of the lessons learned from your unsuccessful run in river sets that you are bringing to Montserrado, and what make you think you can win now?
There were a lot of lessons learned, starting with how our people are living, how tough it is, how difficult it is, how inaccessible so many areas and so many basic necessities are not available for them. That's the experience of people, and sometimes the deception that exists in politics, the nuances and understanding it, the mindset sometimes about, this is our own, this is not our own, this is our son who been here, this is not our son. So all of those things are things you learn in that process, and you try to, bring it on to your next level. So this decision for Montserrado is spurred by several things. The fact that I am from the Montserrado area, growing up in Morovia my whole life, and understanding the nuances there, having people still there who, whether that Nugutan, whether that West Point, whether that Snapper Hill, whether that Pinsville, Brewerville, these are people who know me, they still know me. So building that network with the people who know me, with other people, and being able to connect our diaspora relationship, I think we can have a great team.
Mr. Tukpah, let's why it's good that we need to
Can I ask this question before you go with your question, because it's a very important question.
Go ahead.
If I'm going to ask, there's much singing about gender equality, yet the plight of women and girls remain bleak. How will this change under your leadership? For one, especially these rape cases that we see go on that just nothing happened, I'll be like a bulldog fighting to make sure those people are prosecuted. If they say they cannot find a victim, we will do everything in our power to make sure we find the victims. That's one. Two, we have to recognize the work that these women groups in Liberia have, done to try to build equality and equity, whether in the legislature or wherever. They are putting a lot of work, but the work is not being recognized, So we have to help bring them to the forefront, be able to build, multi-party stakeholder situations where the women issues can become front and center. From the issue of, discrimination, salary differentiation in different areas where men and women work, from the whole situation, a lot of people, they need to have sex with somebody before they can hire them. All of those kind of things. We can't let those happen. We have to be very clear about where we stand on these issues. And, you may not be popular sometimes when you take some certain stands, but the issue is the women and girls in Liberia have been the bedrock on which we exist. And sometimes the bedrock in a very negative way, because we saw how so many young ladies had to be the breadwinners for the family during the war. And we saw the impact on them after that situation. We saw the lack of rehabilitation for many of these people and being able to, redirect their lives in a more positive way. We have this whole big issue of the Zogos, so many women are in that environment as well. My friend Caleb Doma, he runs a program, tries to help these people. And he was helping this young lady who had a baby. He put her in to live with somebody, but she was focused on trying to, still get drugs and everything like that. And eventually at some point, she took her child with her, and left that situation that could be a very positive situation for her. So how do we help these people to rehabilitate? Those are all issues that we have to be concerned with.
Okay. If you're just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are talking with Mr. Isaac Vah Tukpah during a virtual town hall. He exploring to run for the seat currently being held by Mr. Darius Dillon, who is the presumptive nominee for the CPP. Mr. Tukpah.
Yes.
As I was saying, it's good to be realistic. Now, Darius Dillon, who currently hold the seat, is a big star. You say people call him the light and everything in Morovia. And now, Montserrado County, people say belongs to the CDC. So whoever hand or Mr. Weah raises, that person wins. If you are going against the CDC on one hand and then Darius Dillon on the other hand, then it will be like one. Well, my friend Chia will describe as a rice bread, fire on top, fire under.
Okay, and that's for me today. That's a wonderful position to be in, because it's clear that there are a lot of people who are dissatisfied and who don't, want to be with either of those camps. Okay, the CDC, is it Hinson, is it possible to mute that person's phone? Oh, okay. So, like I was saying, it's a comfortable situation to be in that position because a lot of people are either disinterested in politics, a lot of people are disappointed with what's happening, and a lot of people have been on the fence. If we target those people and get them interested with the message and try to set some practical examples about how we expect to move forward really in detailed fashion, I think that will help people to see that there is hope here. There's some vision about how we can move forward as a country. Um, and that vacuum, that gap is available for us to be able to fill. We, in terms of the Vah Tukpah team. So that's why it's not phasing us that there's some kind of, popularity with Darius Dillon or the fact that the CDC supposedly owns Montserrado County. Obviously, we didn't own it because we lost it to Darius Dillon, right? And we know that based on the analysis we have done, the people who voted for Darius is not like they are his base. Some would be people from other political parties as well as some who are disenchanted. So can we do the work to be able to build our own base? That's the question to me. The question is not whether somebody else owns Montserrado County or not. So we are committed. We want to do that work. We want to make an impact on our people. And like I said, whether we participate, whether we win, whether we lose, we have the effort, the energy, the commitment to build a base and to be able to continue to work with that base and support them.
All right, Mr. Jad, our phone lines are open. We got some people here and folks who are calling in here. You are only allowed to ask questions. You can give a little premise so that Mr. Tuba can have the opportunity to answer as many
Okay,
questions
so
as possible.
like Dylan is doing, what will you do differently from what he's doing?
Okay.
So the issue of just shining the light on an issue does not solve the issue. I believe I will focus on solving the problem. I have the ideas. I have, a support system. I have people who I can bring to bear to touch on some of these vexing problems that we have in Liberia. So just exposing something or just saying something is wrong is not enough. You must be able to offer tangible, practical, implementable solutions to those things.
All right.
Question from Facebook, Mr. Sia, before you come.
Okay.
Let me read two questions.
Okay.
Musu Stewart said, why did you not run for Montserrado County before? Why are you hopping counties? And so that's the question. Then Dave just said, why do you think succeeding governments in Liberia from J.J. Rubble have failed in improving the nation and quality of life? So start with Musu's question.
Okay, so I don't know about hopping. Like I said, going to Riverses, where I was born, and where my family is, was a kind of political decision that we made. Today, I'm not prepared to go back to Riverses because I believe I have better opportunity.
Go ahead.
1 second. Jones, I will have to probably mute this call if you can't get that person off the line though.
All right, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. And it is Saturdays, our Saturday special, and we are here with Mr. Axel Vah Tukpah Jr., who is exploring the possibility of a Senate run. So conclude
So
on the hopping question.
it was a political decision we made. We made some, preliminary analysis. We sent like 2 or 3 different groups, and again, the word was, yes, there's a possibility. And based on the fact that the Riverses party, the party in Riverses was totally dead, gave me an opportunity to go build up the party structure as well. And I did that very efficiently. You can see from the national numbers in terms of those who voted in Riverses for President Weah. But on the personal level, in terms of the representative position, they were not prepared to vote for somebody who was not, one of their own. That's in quote unquote, you haven't been here long enough and stuff like that. So maybe I can bring my years of being in Montserrado County to bear to convince the Montserrado people. And luckily for us, Montserrado is not just one tribe or one clan. Montserrado is a melting pot. There are people from all different walks of life. And I believe there are people with different persuasions and people who are very open in terms of embracing a political figure. And like I said, and like most people have said, there's a leadership vacuum that needs to be filled, and we believe we can help them fill. So there's also a question here. What, in your opinion, is the most effective role, responsibility of any senator in Liberia can or should go about best advocating for his or her constituents? So I look at it on two different levels. On the county level, I believe the caucus for the county, we have to be in touch with each other. We have to have a clear development plan for Montserrado County to the extent that we can create an economic, Montserrado Economic Development Corporation, which is like a private sector entity that focuses on being able to improve the economy of Montserrado County. That will be something that we can do in our county, and I believe that can impact the lives of the people. Our understanding of the agriculture sector will definitely come to bear, like I said, and luckily for us in Liberia, we are not densely populated. There's a significant amount of land available for us to create, farming opportunities, for us to be able to source funding, to be able to add value to those food, and whether it takes the marketing aspect to be able to get to the international market is something that we have to do for our people and help facilitate. So all of those are things that I think we can do at the county level. So we can immediately impact the lives of our people by being able to help them produce food right away. Within a year, we can turn things around. We can grow food that can make a difference for our people. We can start at a lower level of inviting people from a tourism perspective. Next year will be 200 years of the Baptist church in Liberia. We can expand our program to facilitate opportunities for people for the following year, 2022, when Liberia, when the folks came on the shores of Liberia in 1822 to have another 200-year bicentennial. So those are all opportunities in which we can immediately try to create jobs for our people. Additionally, we push for Liberians to be a part of the process. We know right now, Liberians businesses are sidelined in a lot of instances for Lebanese and other businesses. We're not saying foreigners should not have business in our country, but we believe that Liberians should be a part of the business fabric. They should benefit. There should be the set-asides that come with Liberianization should be functional. The government should be very focused on making sure that Liberians get what Liberians deserve, be a part of our the bounty that God gave us, and that is not happening, and that has not been happening. So
thank you.
Believe that we should work towards that as a senator.
Thank you. And Mr. Tukpah, please keep your answers a little shorter. We have a lot of people here who got questions for you. I will start taking note. I will bring in 3 of them, and then you respond, if you don't mind.
But before bringing those people, somebody had asked about what my primary items are, and I said it before, but maybe they didn't hear it. So my focus in terms of the economy would be agriculture and tourism. I believe those 2 areas have the highest opportunity for job creation, for Liberians to be able to attract foreign revenue, and also for us to try to achieve food security and be gainfully employed and have more thriving businesses in our economy. Health is a major issue, we know, and we have a significant number of Liberians who are approaching retirement age, in the diaspora or wherever they are. Being able to attract, to build our healthcare system. In healthcare, there's even an opportunity for health tourism. If we have an effective healthcare system, we'll be able to help that. Our education system.
But Isaac,
yes.
Sorry to cut you, but how do these things tie up into the role of a senator?
Because you can pass laws, you can make sure that the budget is a law. You can make sure that you push and get consensus around these things. There are international agreements or African Union agreements on what percentage of your budget should be for healthcare and for certain things. So how do we harness these kind of international standards into our own domestic situation. Those are things that as a senator you can try to make the case with your peers, try to build consensus around focusing emphasis on this. If we had a better healthcare system today, the threat of coronavirus would not be as huge as it is today in terms of the prospect of how many people are going to die and how negative we are on it. So we expected that after Ebola, our healthcare system was going to be something that will focus on and build up. Unfortunately, it's just a shell of what it should be. So we are really, really hoping that given this opportunity, we'll be able to impact something like our healthcare system, our education system, our water and sanitation system. In terms of the water and sanitation system, we have water all around us, but we have not been able to harness that water to get into the people to have for the people to have access to it. Hygiene is a big problem. You see Morovia, there are hardly any public, bathrooms available for people. You nowhere for people to wash their hands. We know with this whole coronavirus thing, say constant washing hands. But how many places have running water for people to constantly wash their hands? We understand with the buckets, and we have all contributed some of those, so that will be running water. But where's the consistency for that? And how many people use a communal bucket? So how we develop these things, how we propose the ideas of using groundwater for water and building these public utility houses in different areas that people can use, like, and have somebody there. It can be a job creation opportunity. People can pay whatever it is in some communities out. We're trying to do a project at D12 High School to implement a solar powered public utility house with water, with groundwater coming from in the ground, and also distributing to people for drinking water. We are putting a proposal to NOCA at the time. The proposal was kind of approved, but it was never really finalized. But in one of the communities I was doing our assessment and research, people were paying to go to the bathroom, and there was somebody, trying to take care of the bathroom and clean it, but it was not in a bathroom with running water. So those are some of the things that we can try to elevate with our people and change. And some of those things we can get, funding through different mechanisms, because there is funding available for some of these things. And being able to have oversight on the funding that comes in for it to be used for the right purposes is very critical, because we have heard how so much money has come into Liberia during Madam Salif's term, and we can see the impact of those dollars. So part of that is making sure the dollars are directed to these different activities.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could push you more on that because the senator has very limited role in that direction. But let's go to our phone line, Mr. Sia. Who we got?
We got here Octavius Gateman. Octavia Gateman, your turn. Your question, please.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Octavius Gilman from Detroit, Michigan, from the TSA International Talk Show. Let me be very brief. Let me say thanks to Mr. Tukpah. I don't know the brother like that. I spoke to him. I mean, with him a couple of times. I have a great respect for him in much, and I don't believe in some of the things that he said or is saying, but I got a great respect for him. Um, um, so I got a question. If you listen to him for the past months or so, if you listen to a lot of Liberian politicians, you with they share one thing in common, and they begin to sell that to the 65% of our brothers and sisters, which is the love for country. I want to ask you this question, Mr. Tupa. If you say you got love for country, and that's why you're going into this, you want to become a senator, do you think it would be the best idea, knowing what DeLon is doing? You might not agree with him 100%, but knowing what he's doing, and you want to contest, you want his position, why not go against Sir Joseph that you yourself know that he's not performing like DeLon? Why not just go for Sir Joseph and job instead of DeLon, like, at least open the door for us to see in our own room? Thank you very much.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
So
Again,
Toba, mark that down. Let's take one more first, please, if you don't mind.
go
All
ahead.
right. Let's take Gerald Cummings. Mr. Cummings, quickly.
Hey, good evening, my brother, and let me
Yeah.
say good evening to Ava, Toba, Mr. Toba. Good evening. It's been a good while. First of all, I want to commend you for your passion for country, your love for country. But I'm kind of confused, and I want you to help me out. A few years ago, your domicile was Riverside. Now I see you running in Montserrado County, or trying to run in Montserrado County. What is your actual political domicile?
Thank you.
Both.
Thank you. Mr. Ava.
Once you own property somewhere.
Mr. Ava, let's take the last question, then you can answer the last person, the third person. And 612-636-3309, your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jai. How you doing? Good evening. Thanks to the Focus on Liberia family. Thank you guys so much for what you do. I hope you guys are all keeping safe. Thanks to our guests, and welcome, Mr. Tukpah. We really appreciate you coming out here to market yourself and to also tell the Liberian people about your prospect. By the way, my name is Prince Williams from Johnson City, Tennessee. I go on Facebook by the name of Prince K. Ulajini as a tribute to my grandmother. I carry that last name. But my question here with Mr. Tukpah, I think most people ask the questions that I wanted to ask. But let me say that it seems that Mr. Tukpah is a great salesman. And evidence of that is that Mr. Tukpah then sold us this phenomenon called George Weah. And Mr. Tukpah is now also admitting that that was a byproduct. But what it seems that Mr. Tukpah, he sells it good, but he doesn't offer a money back guarantee. What do I mean by that? It's just an analogy. Liberian people have been sold a byproduct, which Mr. Tukpah admits. And now the product is being highly controversial. Mr. Tukpah is not offering a money back guarantee in the sense of telling the Liberian people as to how to be able to remedy for the byproduct they have been sold, or rather now Mr. Tukpah is selling a new product to us as running as a senator for Montserrado County. My question is, Mr. Tukpah, if Judge Weah offers to endorse you and offers to campaign with you and for you, will you accept that offer, and will you have him campaign for you as well?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Tukpah, you have 3 questions, those 3 questions.
Right. So again, I don't see the position as Dylan's seat. Dylan can make a case to the people on what he has done. It's not my business to be here about what Dylan has done, and like I said before, just saying you flashing light on something, it's about change, about what our people need at this time, the kind of leadership we need, the kind of opportunities we need to go after, the level of oversight that just beyond shining light, being able to understand the numbers. I mean, who in the legislature really question and ask the executive to bring a budget that supported all those amounts that were proposed for each of those different things? We have not seen any budget. We have not seen any breakdown. So just shining light is not enough. You have to go next level. What are those next level questions? What are those next level development efforts? What are those next level innovative ideas you can push? Typical example, I've not seen, since let's say this new Minister of Agriculture came in, any lawmaker going to her, after the questioning for her, confirmation, to say, what can we do here? How do we push agriculture? What kind of bill do we need to actually be after to move this sector forward? The tourism bill has been hanging there for the longest time. I don't know if the Ministry of Information and Cultural Affairs has, provided some kind of financial analysis of what the impact of tourism can be. But we have not seen anybody. Maybe Akaris Gray is trying to push it a little bit because I'm in, a chat room with him on the land of return, which is the quote unquote, label that will be associated with, 2022. But those are things that senators, especially the senators of Montserrado County, where we have a significant number of, tourist attractions, where people come to. That's the capital city. How do we create jobs for our young people? And that is a sector, the tourism sector, where a lot of young people can be employed from. So it's about being able to do the additional things, being able to have networks outside of the country, being able to maybe attract people who can invest under the right climate and not be under that quote unquote transactional climate that exists today with people who come in to invest. We have heard the stories. So some of those things need to change. And that's where we believe that we can make some serious emphasis. We can make sure that people who are coming to invest are protected in terms of the investment and the path to being able to, manifest their investment in Liberia. So the person asks, currently my political domicile is Montserrado County. I do have still, property in Riverside. So my options are open. I don't have to, say I'm from Nita. I got property in Grand Bassa County too. I could, go along those lines. So I'm not limited by location. I have demonstrable, proof of being, in those two counties or being in that third county, Grand Bassa County. So that's the response to that question. I meet the requirements to be, a contestant. But again, we are in the exploratory stage, and we hope that, giving our presentation here, we can have more people who would be willing to come on board and assist us and help us, because there is no way we can do this alone. We need a lot more people. We need a lot more support. And like I said, we need to start to bridge the gap that exists between Liberians in general and specifically Liberians in the diaspora and Liberians in Liberia. And we feel that we can be that bridge to try to bring our people together.
And the final question was, if President Weah comes out to endorse you, will you accept that endorsement?
First, you said you sold them a bad product. Now you are selling something new without giving them their money back.
Right. So I don't know if there's any money back guarantee in politics. That's the first thing. That's my first time hearing about this. I don't know that you paid any money for the product that was President Weah, and President Weah's ascension was based on the majority of the Liberian people who have already believed in him as being the one. I came on board midstream, and I believe with a great team, President Weah can even turn this country around right now and be able to make a difference for people. But you ask if President Weah offers to endorse and campaign with me, whether I will accept it. At the end of the day, what do I want to do? I want to win so I can impact my people. If President Weah offers to endorse me, I'm not, the one to restrict what his choice is in terms of endorsement. And if his campaign for me can impact the voters and get them, to support me, I will welcome it. I will not just reject President Weah because, I have concerns about how he has been running the country. No, I think he still has the opportunity to turn things around. He wants to focus on that. But for the meantime, I'm focused on my campaign, and whether President Weah endorses me or not, if we make the decision to run, we'll be in the race.
Thank you. Let's come to two more here, maybe three more. Let's take Amos George. Mr. George, quickly, your question.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir, and thank you to Mr. Tukpah. Let me just do a premise. Mr. Tukpah, I believe you're an executive. I believe that you're an executive member of the CDC, and the ruling party has been about 2.5 plus 9 years. Are you satisfied with everything that this party has done in terms of corruption, human rights abuse, press freedom? You can see probably from the United States Embassy these reports. And since you are a member of this party, when last did you come out to call them on issues? And secondly, you said that President Weah, if he chooses to endorse you, you won't mind. Now, how can the Liberian people trust you when the very government today that you sold to them, the policy you do so, and today this government is being found very corrupt with other issues in Liberia? So what makes you think that when you are elected, even as an independent candidate, from what you are seeing, what makes you think that the Liberian people should trust you to give you that vote?
Because the Liberian people can look at my personal record, sir, Mr. Amos. I'm not currently an executive member of the CDC. I'm a chairman emeritus, but I have no position in the CDC right now. No, obviously, I'm not happy with all the things that have gone on. We still have the 25 million situation there. We're waiting for the LSCC report to be published. We had the situation with the $60 billion, which still need to be prosecuted. I don't think only the 4 or 5 people from the National Bank that were indicated are the ones responsible based on the report. That were more, action around that 60 billion Liberian dollars than what we have been, led to believe. Additionally, there have been issues, instances where, people have been attacked, wrongly so, and we have not seen any serious resolution to those issues. So I believe that's part of what being a senator is, trying to provide oversight and being able to ensure that those who are wronged, those things can be, some kind of corrective action can be taken or they can be rectified. So no, I'm not happy with everything that has happened. And again, for the issue of, getting support, yes, there are so many citizens who have nothing to do with what's happening today. We had an expectation, we had a shared vision, we had a dream that certain things are going to happen. If President Weah comes to power and segue from what we expected to something else, I don't think, we should be held responsible. Yes, we take the blame that we supported a vision that we had. We totally accept that, but we can't accept the responsibility for the actions of President Weah and the people who are his team, running the country today. That's just not, something that people can burden us with or tie us to and say we cannot get out from under because we supported the CDC to get to power. No, we did. We're not running away from that. But at the same time, we are Liberians. We care for our country, and we believe our country can be in a better situation to deal with more effective leadership.
Thank you.
All right, let's take this one. Aliyu Kamara, go ahead, bro.
There's one question here.
Yeah.
Hold on, Abba.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Aliyu.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say thank you to the able Dennis Jah and Anthony Sier for hosting such a great program. I must say, you guys have pulled a lot of high power people on the show today. I heard a whole lot of people on here asking questions, and that just speaks volume as to what kind of people these two individuals attract. But before I would just put a lot of things in one basket right here, right now. Mr. Tukpah, fine-spoken gentleman. I kind of like his exposés. But we are getting an unconfirmed information that you were actually consulted by people in the hierarchy of the CDC to go after Mr. DeLon because DeLon is the only obstacle, or somewhat. And you know what's going on. There's a deal to get DeLon out, and you're playing like you don't even know, like you're not supporting the CDC when you are with the CDC in this thing. But my questions is regard if the people of Riverside County, where you were born, doesn't trust you enough to allow you to be a senator or even a representative of Riverside County, what gave you the motivation to believe that you would go into Montserrado County run against a man as powerful as DeLon and win? Is this just a smear campaign to make sure that it doesn't win? My next question would be, what is your stand on dual citizenship when if you become a senator? What would be the actions you would take? I hear you speak a lot about diaspora Liberians, and you call all of us Liberians. But what would you do to make it pragmatic that diaspora Liberians are actually Liberians _ Liberians? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. So the first thing about you saying you heard, that I was consulted by higher up in the CDC to get DeLon out, that is so far from the truth. I don't even know how to label it. No, not at all. No discussion has ever passed like that. There have been some people in the public there have been some people in the public space who have said that, Ava is the only person, who the CDC can put out there to compete with DeLon or whatever. But there has been no overture from the CDC leadership towards me, to be the candidate or the person representing the CDC in this situation. So I don't know where that is coming from. Please disabuse yourself of that notion. There are citizens and other people in the general, population who want to see me run. Again, the issue of Riverside is now a trust issue. Again, most of our people vote based on different premises. we have not had enough civic education. And Dennis Jai is here. He's somebody who wants to teach our people civics. He wrote a book towards that direction too, focusing on that. And we have written a book, Child Steps International, with my assistants, for us to teach civics in our school. There's a lot of things about citizenship that we don't understand. We don't understand how to vet candidates. So the word trust, I don't think is applicable yet. People made a choice, they made a decision to, support a different individual, but yet they are still, reaching out to me. I still try to do my best with the people of Riverside, because I believe, again, that where I was born, I'm obligated to support them. Even in these times, I'm trying to get, some buckets, some, soap, some disinfectant stuff, some masks to take to the Riverside, and some rice. So I just believe in helping people. I believe in helping to make a difference. I believe in supporting people. And I will just continue to be that, because that's how I am. So there's nothing against Dylan. It's not personal. And you made some mention about smear. I don't know how the word smear comes into play, but hopefully, you will try to adjust that vocabulary and understand that nobody is trying to smear anybody. Nobody is being, stage managed to go against Darius Dillon. If he's that powerful, somebody like me should not even be, on the radar. I shouldn't even be a factor in his pursuit or his powerfulness in terms of controlling, his destiny towards getting reelected. So I'm just pursuing a situation where I believe I can make a difference. I believe this is the best path for me to enter the political arena and help Liberia. If I'm not, like we discussed before, successful, I'm still a factor. There are still significant number of people who put their confidence in me to support me, and I'm obligated to try to help those people in any way that I can. My dual citizenship has been very clear. I believe a Liberian is a Liberian, and we should be able to, operate on that level. People say, oh, people will come to Liberia and commit crime, and they just go to another country, or they will steal and go to another country. Well, it's up to the country to be able to pursue those people who are, stealing from the country and leaving. There are many people who stole from Liberia and sitting right in Liberia today.
I know.
Those statements about, the situation with dual citizenship. No, I believe every Liberian should be a Liberian. I believe, constitutionally, it gave us that right. It's just that sometimes people interpret the Constitution, based on how they want to do it. But as a senator, I will truly push that a Liberian is a Liberian.
If I just add war crime code, there's someone who's been asking this over and over. You're staying war crime code. So as you talk about dual citizenship, wrap that in quickly.
Yeah. So that has to be clear that we are all Liberians. We all can contribute to moving this country forward. Unfortunately, some people want to, some people want to separate Liberians. They try to find these different situations, these different fissures that can expand and keep us more separated. But we need to be united to move our country forward. We really do. So I just hope that people can. I'll turn my phone off. I think I should.
Yes, please do that.
Okay. So somebody said my screen showing half of my face. I'm sorry. For all those on Facebook who haven't seen my face, I'm very sorry. But I'm also on Zoom with Focus on Africa. Focus on Liberia. So that's why my face is in that direction. So I hope people understand that I believe a Liberian is a Liberian. We should all focus on how we can harness the abilities of Liberians who, for whatever reason, whether they were seeking better opportunities, whether it was since the war, or whether it was, recently in some instance where they went somewhere else, all Liberians are Liberians, and we should try to ensure that they enjoy the benefit of the land to the maximum, and we should set in place situations, rules, restrictions that will prevent those who will exploit the country or be up and steal from the country and leave the country to be pursued and investigated. With regards to war crimes code, my position has been very clear from day one. I believe we need to have a war crimes code in Liberia. I believe people need to be accountable. So many people who went through this war experience and lost their families have not come to closure. People who operated with impunity in the war, they are still out here today. we need to see how we can find some kind of resolution. I mean, some of the comments when some of the people who are involved in the war died, people let out their frustration and say all kind of negative things about them. You know, how can we make these people accountable? How can we make these people who major responsibility for the war, from Madam Salif to, you know, Wole to Haji Krumah to Prince Johnson to whoever else is out there? We need to bring closure to this situation. And once it keep hanging out there, you know, without any, not retribution per se, but any kind of recognition that these people actually wronged this country. They actually did horrendous things to our people. How can we be able to resolve this? And that's what, you know, this mix is. I believe as a member of the CDC, we're focused on a war crimes code. I believe that's what we said, that's what we touted for. Unfortunately, President Weah had not paid attention to that particular aspect of some of the things. And there were other things in terms of, you know, what our agenda is that probably has not been paid attention to either. So we have to accept some of those things, but my position is very clear. I believe we need a war crimes code, a war and economic crimes code, not just a war crime, a war and economic crimes code, because during that time as well, a lot of economic crimes were committed against the country.
Thank you. They say you dress the devil, Ava, but let's go to our next caller.
Yep. So, Sister
Goya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, Focus on Liberia. My two brothers in studio. As usual, you guys are doing wonderful things for our community. My brother, Mr. Tukpah, I follow you in the background. I must say, first of all, hats off to you. You are a true technocrat. I follow a lot of your writings. I follow a lot of your speeches. Kind of almost like stalking. So I do believe that you know a lot about the things you talk about. You're not one of those people who come on to BS. Now, having said that, I have a few things I want to share with you. The first piece is the brother who talked about the money back guarantee. I did not want to touch on that, but your answer made me to want to touch to have a touch on that.
Okay.
I believe in politics, we should have very short memory when people sometimes come and they sell certain things to us based on a belief that they had, and those things don't turn out the way that they expected, that we should now hold them accountable for life. And that, I believe, I respect you for that. You know, you saw the Liberia Post CDC, and George Weah has not lived up to what your belief was, and I don't think people should hold you permanently for that. But I think what the brother was asking for was remorse. Like, how do you show remorse to the Liberian people that, you know, I showed you this was my belief, it hasn't turned out to be that. How do you show that remorse? I think that's what their brother was asking about. And because the reason I want to focus on that is because you keep talking about change when you talk with respect to Dylan and talking about bringing in investors. And I believe those are the exact same two words that the CDC drill into the minds of the Liberian people. Change. We'll bring investors, and neither one of those two things have happened. So how do you get back to claim that moral authority, which I know you have, but how do you get back to claiming that if you first cannot show some remorse for the first bad product, so to speak, and I'm not trying to say President Weah is bad as a human being, but the first product that you saw that didn't work out in the way that you thought was going to work out. My next piece has to do with, you know, passing bills. You talk about a lot of things. You talk about tourism, you talk about the health sector, you talk about education. What bills, if you were elected today, in your first 90 days, what specific bills do you think you can be able to produce that will help the Liberian education system? What part of that sector will you be targeting? The health sector, how will you target the health sector to improve it by passing bills? What bills would you pass? So I'm really concerned because I know you are technocrats. I'm asking you those technical questions because I know you can handle them. You're able to come up with those pieces and talk about those. My last thing I want to talk to you about is I am really happy you're talking about helping out Riverses. I am not from Riverses, but I have family people from Riverses. The only thing is that I will beg you, please, as you send out your COVID-19 support to the people in Riverses, please don't do that. Everybody else, don't put your name on them, please, my brother. I know you're way better than that, but I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Vah Tukpah, before you come on, there's another caller from DC who has been calling. He said he can't get through, so he called my line. So just give me a few minutes. That's Edward Doe. Edward has I think he have a refugee phone that can call our line. So Edward, please go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Yes, Mr. Isaac Tuba. I have a couple of questions. First and foremost, can you please describe to the listening audience what is your leadership skills, your leadership level, that you are not seeking the senatorial position for Montserrado County? You once sought the River Sales representative position, which you failed. The people rejected you. I don't know why you think now the people will accept you in such a huge position. So can you please describe first? That's the first part of my question. What is your leadership skills that you are selling?
Go to the second so you can conclude.
Okay, the second question here is that you once led an organization by the name of Leader Fund. And this organization was an organization that was supposed to help individuals in Liberia who was flood-stricken. And that organization, during your leadership, defunct when it no longer exists. And then also to you own a small bar and restaurant in DC, Washington, DC. And during the time you owned that restaurant, that was an icon. That place was an icon. You somehow got that, icon spot from the former owner and things of that nature that Liberians used to go to. When you took over, that the small bar and restaurant that Liberians used to go to, you could not pay you were in non-compliance of the use and sales tax and non-payment of the use and sales tax, and DC government had to shut it down. So can you explain what sort of leadership are you bringing to the Liberian people that you're trying to force yourself on Liberian people? Once in River Sets, you tried that, now in Montserrado County.
Okay, thank you, Edward. Don't say force. I think his campaign is not trying to force, but thank you for your question.
It's funny sometimes how people, I don't know what it is. Sometimes people get obsessed with you and they come from all different directions. But my leadership style is very open. I believe in input. I believe in seeking input. I believe in collective decision-making and participation. But when it comes to the hard thing, I'm able to take a stand and tell the people I'm working with, the people I'm leading, that this is the direction we are going in. So in terms of rejection, I don't know whether it was rejection, because I really feel the people of River Sales love me and they welcome me. It's just that they don't believe I should be their leader. That does not take away from my leadership skills. The people who work with me and who understood me know what it is. And if the saying in Liberia is that you have to live with the people for X amount of years before you go, that obviously I would never live in River Sales for the number of years that anybody else who has been there before me will live. So if I live there 2 more years, somebody will live 7 more years than me. If I live 3, they will live 8. So that on that competition of time, it doesn't mean anything. But I will still support the people of River Sales. Again, he said the Liberian Emergency and Disaster Relief Fund, the Leader Fund, doesn't exist. He is totally ignorant of what it is. The organization has been in existence since 2007. It's 13 years old, it still exists. Right now, we have 16 pallets of medical supplies that we want to send to Monrovia actually to Liberia, because Phoebe Hospital raised an SOS that they needed help. So we have been working on collecting these medical supplies, and we have them. We are now raising funds to ship them. So for him to say the organization does not exist is just a total, a lie. We actually registered the organization now in Liberia. We just got our registration certificate today. So sometimes I don't know where people come from these stories, with these stories. In terms of owning a restaurant, we operated that restaurant from 2002 to 2012. We closed down the restaurant. It had nothing to do with the DC government at all. We paid our taxes. So if he can go and bring documentation that, the restaurant owed the DC government or something on tax, and that's why we're closed, that's totally wrong. We just did not get the right support from the community. We tried our best, but it seemed like maybe people did not feel like they could, support us. The location of the restaurant, sometimes for some people in terms of parking and stuff, it was difficult. And at the time, DC was still a very rough environment. But to own a business for, 11 years, 2002 all the way to 2012, I think that should be complimentary. A lot of businesses go out of business the first 5 years or so. So, with regards to that, I just hope he understands that he presented a lot of fallacy to the people here tonight. the Leader Fund, Liberia Emergency Disaster Relief Fund, is still a viable organization. We are still a 501c3 nonprofit registered with the IRS. Anybody can check on us. And we are just excited about the things we are doing, the people who are involved, you know, the couple other groups we have been able to bring to bear with this coronavirus situation. And during Ebola, we really brought different organizations together. We created a huge number of awareness. We shipped medical supplies to the Bowie Foundation and to Action Aid, you know, to help with the situation in Liberia. So we are very proud of what the Leader Fund has done. So for him to not be informed, you know, I don't understand it. With regards to the first individual who was asking his question, and agreed that we should have short memory politically and not hold people accountable for life. But in terms of showing remorse, well, showing remorse is trying to make up to the Liberian people to show that there is leadership that who have come from the CDC, who have done things differently. So that's why we are in this position now. Coming back to the Liberian people to say, you know, these are the same fundamental things that we're asking for before to be able to do. Unfortunately, they are not being done right now. Give us an opportunity to help from a political position, because politics controls nearly everything in our environment, to the extent that, you know, if the politicians don't try to facilitate and open up the economic space, nothing will happen regardless of what you do, because they can always marginalize whatever you are doing. You know, so remorse, I don't know to what extent he wants us to show remorse or what we need to do for him to believe that, you know, we have some issues with how things are going. And again, because our country is small and the opportunity exists, things can be turned around. If President Weah, you know, wants to do the right thing, it's up to him to make that decision as our head of state, as our, you know, president, you know. So I can't control that. In terms of the education system, there is a lot of stuff. Let me turn this light on. There's a lot of stuff that we can do in the education system. Right now, we are trying to solve a serious problem. Our kids are not in school. Already, our education system is behind. I saw some of the things that the people call schools in Riverside, in Grand Bassa, even places in Montserrado County. Those are not schools anywhere else in the world. And it's just unfortunate. So some of the things I would bring in terms of, you know, pushing an education bill is standards. Standards with regards to curriculum, standards with regard to teacher certification and everything that must be enforced, standards with regard to the facility that the children are, you know, put in or housed in to go to school, and the situation in terms of running water. You know how many places there's no water for these kids? I mean, what does it take for government to make a commitment that in 3 years we have water running in every school? What, I mean, millions of dollars have come to Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation or to that particular sector, to the water sector. Water is life. People say that. Look, we had a situation where this guy came from, I forgot, a nonprofit. He came to Liberia and made claims that he provided water border to border in Riverside. I was in Riverside where the people were suffering. It's just that I'm drawing a blank, you know, on his company's name. But he had a very nice name, but he didn't produce. He raised funds. He was in Texas on a boat for X amount of hours or X amount of days that he had to raise $5 million. He raised that money. And our water commission, you know, I want to say thank you to Ambassador Whitfield. He was able to really, you know, bring to bear the situation in that sector. But again, like a lot of things, what has happened? Have we held this guy accountable? No, we haven't. So what about the claim he made? What about the people money he took? So many millions of dollars. So our government need to do a better job of monitoring these international NGOs that come to Liberia. They come like saviors. They come like they're trying to change our lives, but it's just an exploitation ploy. So we got to be very careful here. So part of this, my effort would be putting some emphasis on that. Are these non-governmental organizations, especially the international ones, are they producing at the level that they claim they are? Are they making a desired impact? Are they using those people who are donating the funds to us? Are they using it for the right purposes? Those are things we have to look at. So our education system right now, we need to add some technology into our education system. That's something I will push for, that we have to identify some early identification of those who have the aptitude to do science, to do technology, to do engineering, to do math, and so many other things that would lead us to help our country. We cannot have these young folks just not being guided in the education system. So being able to have a structured education system, an identification system, and accelerated process system will be some of the things I would push in the education system. And definitely infrastructure is critical. We have to have standardized. The whole model of Tottenham High, you see that building is still standing today. It's still a very decent building. We can create that model and standardize it across the country and build schools to that level. Another issue is how we go about this whole, the new decentralization law, after I skimmed it a little bit before, it tries to concentrate people. Because now you got 15 people, you got 40 people, you got 50 people, they call it a town. That's not a town. There's no way any government will be able to provide services to these kind of disparate, overly distributed people. We have to have some concentration in the population and be able to make them come together as one and be able to work together as a community.
Thank you, Isaac. We got one last caller, but before that, let me read a comment from Eva Sa. He said, we will hold him accountable, talking about you, Mr. Tukpah. Up until now, he has not held the Weah's feet to the fire. It is only now that he's thinking about running that he has something spoken against Mr. Weah. So hold that thought as you think about it. Let's bring in our last caller, 616 area code.
Hello.
Your name and where are you calling from, sir?
My name is Ambassador Stevie Jimmy, and I'm calling from the United States in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I want to thank you guys so much for the show, and I want to say hi to Mr. Tukpah. But before I go my question, I had the question I was given to him, the way he answered the question, he said that he's sorry that he gave a byproduct to the Liberian people. He said byproduct of the Liberian, which is friendly to the president. So my question had to do, don't you think it is still soon to judge the government that it can be a failure government? That's my first question. And you thought you want to be a senator. You're speaking like a person like an island. So you think by saying you make a bill, you make everybody bill with me that can the bill just become a bill when you don't have the support of other colleagues to make a bill to go through? For example, what I know in Liberia, when you say, oh, the government apply $200 billion bill, it means that you'll feel that will just take your cash or money that I lay somewhere, which means we basically is not. When you pass a bill, it's just a bill. You got to raise that money before it becomes physical cash money. Now we have so many Liberians that come around every day to go do this. And I listen to the SOC, you give you a good background where you have organizations that have been running around Liberia. Why you can remain in that or NGO sector and face the reality that we face today in Liberia? Liberia problem, from my own observation, a full problem we face mostly. And you're not taught down the agriculture process. If you have the opportunity we have now, that you have, don't you think you can work with a farmer as an organization and every Liberian we want to help?
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Tukpah.
Okay, so we are. Somebody else said about product. I never mentioned about product. I said there are issues that we are concerned with that are not going that the way we agree to as a political party. So if the description is fair product, that's theirs. Where I think is the government has not met up to the mandate that we as a CZ party expected to. And he can consider it too early. I consider 2 years and 3 months enough time for us to see what's going to happen. And the government needs to step up. It will be wonderful for me if the government can, do whatever it can to make things right and to move forward. Again, it's about the Liberian people. It's not necessarily about me. So there's nothing, too early with regards to what we expect in terms of performance. People can go and check the, PAPD and make the comparison. And see where we are based on those metrics that we say we achieve. That's up to them to do it. in terms of going through a bill, if a bill would just go through. No, sir, I understand the process. You have to build consensus around some of these things. You have to talk to your peers. You have to try to be convincing and work with them to get it done. So nothing just happens automatically, and we have to work with things. But before we go, I have two questions from people who felt they were very important. Okay, so this person said many politicians in Liberia, well, he meant to say prioritize agriculture in Liberia just to fool ordinary citizens to believe their lies. Farmers have been neglected in Liberia. Farmers are never mentioned in the budget. Farmers can't get their products to the market because of bad roads.
Yeah.
I don't know that Liberian politicians have prioritized agriculture. I'm not aware of that. I've been singing the song of agriculture for the last 19 years, and I've not had one lawmaker, come to me and say, potential candidate come and say, let's, work together to see how we can do things. We have invited, in the US here to a couple of farms that we have association with. We have invited some of our leaders, in Liberia before, during Madam Salif time and during this particular time. And, it has not really moved. And so I don't know I necessarily agree. I agree with everything else you say, in terms of farmers have been neglected. Farmers are never mentioned in the budget. Farmers can't get their products to the market because of bad farm to market rules. Those are true things. And those things need to change. That's the only way we can develop. All right. So the other question is on year. The question is, how can you justify the disparity in pay of the legislature versus the regular civil service, and what will be your stance on it? Well, at present, supposedly we know what the legislators are making. I'm not sure that should be what legislators should be making. I believe that we need to create a national schedule that has all the different positions, all the different salaries and payments, and there should be parity in job classes, and there should be equity from one position to the next. So I believe it's a whole.
You mean harmonization?
I don't know about harmonization to you, my brother. I think there should be a holistic approach to really, and maybe harmonization could be the first step, but to be revisited to make sure there is some level of equity, and then in job classes there is parity. Yes, the effort, we got to applaud the effort that they cut down on salary, but what did that money go to in terms of moving it from one bucket to the next bucket? Those are things that maybe government should make an effort on clarifying to people and letting them know exactly what the savings is and what that savings will put towards. So those are some of the things they need to do. So I hope I answered that person's question.
Right. I think you've answered a lot of questions. Let's wind this down now. Let me go back to Mr. Sia.
Yeah, Mr. Jah, thank you again, folks in cyberspace. You are watching Focus on Liberia. We are having Mr. Vah Tukpah Jr., who is exploring the possibility of a Senate run for Montserrado County, and he has been answering a lot of questions. I got two tough questions here for him. I'm not sure he can make it on those two, but he will try. Mr. Tukpah, there's a noise going around here. Let me bring you to current events. About 6,500. If you were there, would that money be in your pocket?
No, I will refuse that money. Were those people on session? Were they somewhere else that they had to be called back to do something extra phenomenal? I don't think so. I think all the lawmakers were right there. And I think that is part of the function. And this whole thing, I did analysis on, this operational fund and all of that. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much in the legislature budget that we really need to revisit it and see how we can get some savings from there. Right. I think it overburdens the country. I think more things can be. There is no need for this whole operational fund thing. I think it's a gimmick. If you want to do stuff in your community, you want to impress your people, go and find your own resources to do it. Don't use government money and pretend like it's your money. Let it be definitely allocated for specific projects that we as legislators can monitor and make sure that there's oversight in the implementation of those kind of programs. So no, I will not receive that kind of funding. I believe our salary should be our salary.
So if the rest of the senators are receiving it, that's the rest of the senators are receiving it. And in fact, I read one comment why somebody was backing his senator for receiving it and say, well, it's like Robin Hood, right? You take it from the rich and give it to the poor. So if you don't receive it as a senator, just one out of the bunch, what difference does that make, Mr. Tukpah?
But then sometimes it's about your principle. It's not necessarily in terms of the financial difference it makes, but are you happy receiving that money? Is that what you're supposed to do? Sometimes you need to take a principle stand. Even sometimes when your peers may not want to do something or may want to do something and you take a different position, you have to do that. You know, so it's not like just go with the win in every situation. So if somebody brings a concession and say, all of you take $6,500 so this concession can pass, am I supposed to take that too because other people are taking it? No, I don't think so. So I think we need to bring a certain level of integrity and a certain level of patriotism to the, legislature, and also a certain level of expertise that we can share with our brothers and sisters and convince them on some things that they can support, that we can all move forward together on.
And stay on that money. I don't know if you can remember what Article 90B said about giving compensation to lawmakers. Let me read it for you just quickly, if you don't mind. It said, no person holding office shall demand or receive any other perquisite, emoluments, or benefit directly or indirectly on account of any duty required by the government. What's your understanding? And based on your understanding, you think for them taking that money was a violation of the Constitution?
No, let me read that again.
Yes.
90B. If you have your Constitution, please put it up. If you don't, okay. The Moral Cross. That's what.
No person holding office or demand and receive any perquisites, emoluments or benefits directly or indirectly on account of any duty required by government. So by definition, if that, what did they consider it? Because 1 second I heard sitting fee. I didn't know that they were aboard to get sitting fee. Then from the another person, I heard it was operational fund. What operation were they executing that you should be getting that money? So there's no real justification for those funds. But I don't know that I will put it in the term of perquisites. And for, I think we need to make the effort to provide a definition of perquisites. So
yeah, it's key. So let me read the definition of perquisite for you.
A thing regarded as a special right or privilege enjoyed as a result of one's position.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that situation was a privileged thing, because probably in their mind they were doing work and they expected to receive some compensation for it. But you are already getting compensated as a lawmaker.
Right.
So what is the point of that compensation? So I don't want to put it in the sense of a perquisite, but it be like it's a privilege or some special right because of their position, then yes, it's in violation of the Constitution if that's what it is. So we'll go to the next word, emoluments. Yeah. We're trying to make sure that we can break down these things for those people who are over there and say, oh, they're using words and they're not there. So emolument is a salary, fee, or profit from employment or office, right? So I don't know whether this definition of emolument for this is only profiting. I believe from the constitutional reading, because it can be salary, it can be fee. So it's basically saying these people are profiting from this particular, money they receive, for whatever situation. So again, 6,500 or 6,000, whatever the exact amount is, I believe should not have been given. These people were not, it was not an extraordinary session that they had come to be compensated separately. It was a state emergency that the president brought forward, and they had to evaluate the situation. So to be, getting, extra compensation I don't think that was necessary. And yes, it was beneficial to them. So that's a benefit for the office, I believe. So even though they claim that that amount was in the budget, I don't know that that amount was budgeted for that particular purpose. That some amount being in the budget and you designating to say your expenditure of that amount falls under, operational funds doesn't mean it's actually operational funds.
Thank you, Mr. Alva. Let me ask my last question. Let's say this exploration goes well, and you are going against Mr. Abraham Darius DeLong in the elections in October. What would you say that why should the voters in Montserrado County pick you over Darius DeLong?
I don't think I've gotten to that point yet, but obviously I've elaborated on some of my capabilities here, my ability to take things next level, my ability to be able to analyze the situation at a greater level of and be able to articulate those particular positions.
You mean better than Darius DeLong?
That's the question you asked, right?
Yeah.
Yes, better than Darius DeLong. Well, question. So, I mean, when it comes to the issues, when it comes to the technical aspect of being able to provide oversight and provide understanding, I will leave it up to them to look at my resume and look at my ability to discuss this issue and bring, substantive points to the table versus whatever, Mr. Dillon bring. Again, it will be in the hands of the voter. I don't want to get in the situation of trying to make a personal direct comparison, even though that will happen a lot. But, people who are occurrent of Dillon and myself, they will understand what the difference is between and myself. And it has been on display over the last, 13, 14 years in the social media space, in the articles I write, in the positions I hold, and all of those things. I mean, I think I go to a deeper level. I think I have a greater understanding of the issues. I think, with the stance I take on issues is a little different. People can, actually look at our political history and see the stability in there and understand, how we differ and everything and be able to make their decisions.
All right. And finally, in politics, in campaign, the election process, there must be a debate. Here I focus on Liberia. We hold debate regularly, usually every other week. We can have Vah Tukpah when that time comes. Be willing to debate Darius DeLong. Here I focus on Liberia. Yes or no?
I don't know.
All right. Thank you.
There'll be hold on one second. This
okay.
There'll be mandatory debates, I believe, in those we engage. If our friends at Focus on Liberia call us to participate, most likely we will be prone to accept that. Somebody has a question. Vah, as you are aware, Liberia has a history of perception, which sometimes can be difficult to change if it is negative. Considering the fact that you contested in River State and didn't win, what would you say to those who ask, why is this man jumping from county to county? Is this man credible? Well, if credibility is based on, whether you participate in one county and go to another county, then yes, people can call me and say I'm not credible. I'm fine with that. But I don't believe that what defines credibility, And again, where you run is a choice. There's nothing that holds you down to a particular county to run. You are under no obligation, no commitment. You made a choice before to run in one county. Now you're making a political choice to run in another county. And I think in those instances, people should respect the decision that an individual makes. But if it's an issue for them, that's what democracy is so beautiful and wonderful. They can choose not to vote for that individual. And, people hold perceptions, you say, and perceptions are perceptions. They're not, most times they're not reality. And sometimes you can't really change them. But at the same time, you have to work for people to understand you. You have to put yourself out there. You have to give them an idea of who you are, what your beliefs are, what your principles are, what are the things that you hold as valuable to you, and let them make that decision in terms of what they think about you. So, again, I want to say, you want to close before I close, or I can go ahead?
No, you can close now.
Wonderful. I think this has been a wonderful experience in terms of me sharing with the people that we are in the exploratory process, sharing some of my thoughts, introducing myself to this population. I want to say thank you to Mr. Williams, who gave me the challenge to come and do this. He provided a telephone opportunity. I don't know if we are still on. I don't know if people are still participating, but this was a really, really wonderful opportunity for me to reach out to the people of Liberia, not only the people of Montserrado County, but the people of Liberia, and share with them that I'm a person who is for all Liberians. I want us to be, really respectful and disciplined in our exploratory process. When we make this decision, we still be the same way and try to move forward. There's a lot of disrespect, a lot of insults, and even that, being some temptation to come my way to do that. But I want to be, very firm as I communicate to those who will support me, that let's not get into, insulting others, denigrating others, disrespecting others, and degrading, people simply because they disagree with us or so. Let's try to stay focused on the issues. Let's try to offer the solutions we are offering and see if we can convince the people that what we have for them is better than what the competition has. So, with that, I want to say thank you again to Focus on Liberia for giving us this opportunity, to participate in this 2-hour show. I want to say thank you to all of those on social media, Facebook Live, and those who are on the phone for listening and, probably hopefully getting to know me a little better. For those who, have questions out there, I will try to go through these questions again and respond to them. Because I know a lot of questions when I answer, a lot of people had different questions. Some were very leading, some were on point. But at least it tried to review where I stand on these different issues. And hopefully I was convincing enough that some people can make a decision or reach out to me and say, sure, I would love to support you. Or I think X, Y, Z. Some people are like, why run? Why not wait until 2023? But everything in politics is timing. And we are trying to build a movement here in terms of the Liberia and diaspora integration movement. So those who are also interested in that angle, and that is nonpartisan, we can all join together and try to make Liberia a better place. At the end of the day, we are Liberians. And Liberia is a very beautiful place that if we really work together, we can make a difference. So somebody just made a point. We can end your program. I can stay on Facebook with my people and talk to them a little bit more and go through this. So,
all right, thank you. With that said, from our guest here, Mr. Vah Tukpah, on his exploratory mission here at Focus on Liberia, we want to say thank you. We enjoy having you, asking you questions, and you providing the answers for the people of Liberia to understand and make a determination whether or not they will support you. On that note, with your closing words, like you said, we are all Liberians. We have a song here that we close with that say we are all Liberians. Folks in cyberspace, thank you for following us. Subscribe to our Facebook. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our page, so that when we go live, you will get that notification. My name is Anthony Sie, and I have been co-hosting with the veteran Dennis Jai. This is how we draw down the curtains. Don't forget, coronavirus is real, and we here at Focus on Liberia want to encourage you to follow all the necessary protocols that have been provided by the health expert. Yeah, Mr. Jai.
Yeah, tomorrow at 6 p.m., we want our viewers to tune in here on Focus on Liberia. We'll be discussing Liberian proverbs, Liberian parables, and Liberian folklores as part of our series educating on Liberia as we go through the COVID-19, especially for our K through 12 kids that are home. So tune in to Focus on Liberia. We're going to be discussing Liberian proverbs, Liberian parables, and Liberian folklores.
Would there be some Liberian poems too?
We'll see.
All right, we'll see. On that note, we say thank you and bye-bye.
Okay, so thank you for our friends. People.